We cut vinyl on it. By the way, we cut vinyl at Bernie Drummond Mastering, best spot ever. Come see us. Um, I'm somewhere around -8, -9, which is loud.
That's right, yeah. That's not, yeah.
But the music dictates that. Kind of what I was saying earlier. If I give you back mastering that is not comparable to the guy on the chart right now, I fucked up. It's that simple to everybody involved on that end of it. And I'll fight for clarity and beauty and all that detail till I'm blue in the face, but you're my client, so I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. And 9 times out of 10, I'll start out reasonable, and then the feedback is, but could it just be a little bit louder? Yes.
And I just have one last
Yeah.
question. Do you ever use any of the any imaging software at all in the mastering process?
I don't use plugins at all, to be honest. Bernie Drummond Mastering is known for our gear. We build all of our consoles in-house. Anything that we would buy commercially, we mod. Our techs have been doing this for 50 plus years. Like, they know. We've got guys from the analog era. We've got guys from the digital era. You put those minds together and say, hey, I need a thing that does this thing. And 2 days later, that thing's in my room that they built. And it's freaking great. I mean, I'm not trying to duck your question. I'm lucky as hell. Like, I know that. But it's the culmination of years and years of constant upgrade and constant, tweaking this and that to get where the consoles are. And there's 8 of them maybe in the world. We have another studio in Japan that's got a couple consoles, but the other ones are all in Hollywood. That's it. There ain't no more. No, I'm extremely fortunate. Absolutely.
So you said you're your own worst enemy sometimes.
Right.
How do you get out of your head when you're trying to complete a mix or, master, and that's just not, it's not
I get in my own head because every engineer that I know of any ability level is their worst critic. And that's the best thing to be to me. Like, you can tell me my shit sucks, and I'll probably agree with you, because there's shit in there that sucks. So I'm averaging, the shits. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, I think of different recipes. So if I were to master an album and then play it back in the car or at home, like, it's hard in the moment to keep the whole project in perspective, right? So a single to me is easier to master than an album because you're not comparing it to anything. Here's your loud ass track that I'm not comparing to somebody else's track. This is your individual song. But I do know that you're going to go listen to somebody else's song and A/B those things. So I'm going to get you in that ballpark. Yeah, I just outthink myself because I nitpick stuff. I nitpick things that have won Grammys, and I'm like, shit, if I could go back and change that, I'd do that on that whole album. But it worked. So, but that's a me issue, and I kind of don't ever want to lose that,
that self-critic inside.
Well, the anxiety of failing.
Thanks. I feel that 100%.
So.
Mastering a single compared to an album,
Yep.
how is it different when you're mastering an album, and how do you find consistency throughout the tracks? And I know throughout an album there may be a specific sound or an instrument that'll stick out and you want to kind of have it resonate throughout the whole album, but how would the process be any different?
Well, I mean, obviously the best projects to master are mixed by one guy, right? Or recorded in one studio. You're going to have more uniformity to begin with, which makes my job easier, but that's not always the case. You do a soundtrack where there might be new songs, or like a Fleetwood Mac song, or a ZZ Top song, and then an orchestral track, and then a jazz track. Other than level, which is part of what I'm going to try and make everything sound sort of uniform, so when you're listening to it, we're not on this roller coaster ride. You were at the other thing I did the other day. So I'm looking for a commonality maybe in those things. Maybe it is the vocal level. The danger in remastering already heard things is if I were to change a Fleetwood Mac song, everybody in this room is going to be like, that guy screwed it up. Because I know what that song sounded like for 40 years. So, again, it's that dance of honoring what, you know, in that instance, something that's already out in the public world. But just in general, on a new project, one mixer definitely helps keep everything cohesive, but the methodology is the same. I'm looking for a common thread, starting with volume. You know, like I'll master an album and I'll just go back and jump randomly around the tracks before I even assemble it, just to make sure, like, okay, the hats in that track are a lot hotter than anything else in here. Maybe it's worth taking those down a little bit so they fit nicer in the mix, but still retain the intent of what those hats are. So it's a lot of playing around and jumping around and comparison, really.
When you mastered to reference tracks?
I get reference tracks all the time, and it's hard for me always to, like, I don't judge other mastering guys. I don't know what the thing was before it became the thing that I hear. I do a lot, like people will say, hey, here's some of the things I'm referencing and I want to sound like, and unless you sound like that, that's hard, right? So if you're like, hey, I want it to sound like a Kendrick Lamar song, but you're a different style rapper, or your instrumentation and sounds are different, I'm looking for as many things, again, common between those two things, but, you know, mastering lays people's mixes bare and is kind of a humbling thing at times, because make sound like that. I'm cutting in and out, so sorry. Maybe you won't sound like a Kendrick track. I'll do all the things that I can do to make you sound better or like that. But it's a case-by-case basis, and ultimately, like, I can only do what you've given me. So if what you've given me is not anything in the realm of that, it's really hard. And I've had people, I've done like 8 revisions on songs, somebody's chasing something that just isn't there. And then finally, it's incumbent on me to say, hey, this kick that you keep wanting me to get to sound like that kick doesn't even exist in your mix. Like, I don't want to be an asshole about it, but that's the truth. So here's what I'm recommending for you, you know? So, yeah, but overall, like, reference tracks to me are more like, here's how loud I want it, here's how much bottom end I want on it, more vague than exact things, right?
More like the volume and then the frequency.
Right, like, hey, like I mastered Post Malone's stuff, and a lot of people love the low end on the Post Malone stuff. Well, I can't just make that low end for everybody's thing, right? That was mixed by Manny Miracle. The mix is dope shit. So he gave me something great to work with, you know? And a lot of the times, knowing when to not do anything, because Manny knows what he's doing, I get out of the way of it a lot of the time. Maybe I'll sprinkle a little magic dust on the mix and hope that that slides by him and the artist, and that it still is true to what the mix is.
Would you add a little sub to it or anything?
It depends on what the sub's doing. Like, again, 808s, those things travel and reverberate and they're huge. And if it's already huge, then I don't play with it. But sometimes I might sneak a little something, half of something, just to see if it works. But, you know, you start coloring what that thing is intended to do, and it doesn't do that thing anymore. So, yeah.
Over process it or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I'm trying not to do that.
Have you ever got a mix that you just didn't do anything to? It was
Yep.
like perfectly just perfect?
Yeah, I mean, people deliver mixes all the time that are just great, and I feel like I'm failing them because I'm not adding to it. But then when I try futzing around with it to find something that change it, it loses the way it felt, right? It loses the impact, or it's muddied now, or it's too bright, or it's just too different. Yeah, there's some guys that deliver mixes that are just killer, and I'm like, cool, get it out of the way, encode it with the metadata, put all the ISRC codes and UPCs on it, let's get that to the label, we're done.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, no, those are great.
What's that?
Yeah. Any others? Play another track? Okay. We're gonna do the other one that is up for Record of the Year this year is Childish Gambino's "This Is America." I mastered this song before seeing the video. I know everybody's seen the video. The video makes this song to me, and I'm the guy that did the song part of it. Together, it's a powerful ass thing. When I heard this the first time, this one is mixed from Derek Ali, same through that TDE cam. There's sections to this song that remind me of other things. A lot of the kind of African instrumentation in the beginning, quieter sections to me are like a Paul Simon song. And then it gets really aggressive, and the EQs change, and the intent changes, and I'll just tell you what I did before we hear it so now you can listen for it. So I pushed mid-frequencies on this a little bit more than the other track because there's a tension in the heavier parts of this song that are uncomfortable and should be uncomfortable. This song is a heavy-ass song. Like, it doesn't sound like it, you know, if you want to get into deep, you know, political stuff, I'm not doing that, but there's very anxiety-driven parts in this track that I wanted to make stand out. So hopefully when we play this, you'll hear it. It's more in the top end, mid-range stuff, to give you more of a visceral feeling for what, you know, the intent of that song was. So you want to play the Unmatched?